And I'm sure 100% that deep down, you know that the real reason is you're scared of what you might find when you look deep inside you. Can someone please tell me when, how, where, why did society ever decide that doing things alone is equal to you being a loner? Ugh, it's the 21st century. Give me a break. Do things on your own. Make it okay. And that is why I made this video, friends. Hello everyone, and welcome back to the 5th episode of Lina Rants with me, Lina Rants IG. I'm pretty sure that most of us, if not all of us, have felt lonely maybe a couple of dozen times in our lives. And that is completely normal. But I want you to be fair. How many times have you felt lonely even when you were surrounded by a group of friends? Maybe at least once. So am I trying to tell you that you should spend more time alone and forget about your family and friends and loved ones? Absolutely not. This whole channel is about connecting with people, so it would be insane for me to ask you to do something like that. What I'm really asking you to do is to really give yourself some time alone, to reflect, to really give yourself the love that you are giving out to other people. If you want to give people something, you got to fill it up in yourself first. What I'm trying to say is that there's a difference between alienating yourself and having quality time with yourself. Quality time with yourself. I actually noticed this mentality in myself a few years ago when I moved here to Canada. I would see people walking alone or sitting at a restaurant alone or a coffee shop or whatever. My reaction was always the same, like, oh, my poor thing. I'm such an empathetic person, but that was not the right way to look at it. So I asked myself, Lina, where did you get this mentality from? And I had to look no further. I just had to look around me. Society, my friends. Society is why I thought that way and why you think that way too. People around us have chained us into thinking that if I go alone, if I dare go alone outside if I want to, and go to a restaurant and people are gonna give me those pity looks, no, I'm not gonna go. Screw that. But let me tell you one thing. Who cares about the stranger or strangers who you're never gonna see ever again in your life?
Nobody.
Now that's out of the way. Let me tell you internally, when you tell yourself or other people that you can't do things alone, what is that really telling yourself subconsciously? That you can't sit with yourself. That means you don't enjoy your company. So if you don't enjoy your company, then why would other people enjoy it? Sometimes, even if we don't speak to ourselves, a lot of things that we say out loud or to other people are also something that we're telling ourselves subconsciously without even realizing the impact that it has on us. I'll tell you something from experience. When you master sitting alone, it makes you feel empowered. Let's take that deeper. Why do most of us really don't want to stay alone or do things alone? The short answer to the long answer that I'm gonna give right after the short answer is we're scared. I was watching a video by Robin Sharma, the author of the 5 a.m. Club, and he was talking about doing things alone, and he said a very nice thing in regards to why people don't like to sit alone. When you're alone, you don't just start thinking, you start feeling. I feel like every single time I'm trying to run away from having alone time, I know deep down that I'm trying to avoid thinking about certain things that cause me a lot of pain or a lot of confusion, and I'm just trying my best to just distract myself by other people, by other things, by the phone, so I don't sit alone and think about those things. A lot of us have unhealed problems, and I'm sure 100% that deep down, you know that the real reason is you're scared of what you might find when you look deep inside you. And that is the number one reason why people don't actually like doing things alone. Let me tell you one thing. One day, you're gonna have to be forced to be alone. It doesn't matter how. There's gonna be a lot of circumstances. The gist of what I'm saying is, you're gonna have to face yourself one day, one way or the other. Let me give you an analogy. If you had a twin that was stuck to you, and you had to live with them and you can't do the surgery to detach from them, wouldn't you wanna be on good terms and best friends with your twin because, well, technically you're gonna be stuck together till you die? And it's the exact same thing with being with yourself. You are your own identical stuck twin to yourself. You can get rid of yourself. So might as well just be on good terms with it. You know what I'm saying? So now to my personal story, because that's all what we're really here for, the tea. Well, as I mentioned in my first video, and if you haven't watched it already, you better watch it after this. Your girl moved to Canada a few years ago, and I was only 18 at the time. I never lived in the dorm, so I lived alone, and that That was tough, my friends. Had made some friends, and you know, it wasn't the best friendships, and I just told myself, you know what, I'd rather have people than be alone and lonely, and I just freaking hate it here, so I'll just suck it up. Boy, was I wrong. Obviously, sometimes we learn things the hard way, and so that's exactly what happened to me. I learned everything the hard way, honey. So those friendships ended, and I was left with barely any friends, if any at all. I'm gonna be pretty honest with you guys. I'm not saying that doing things alone is easy. Also, I didn't even have the option of being with that many other people, so it was just like 10 times worse for me. I really decided to, okay, what am I gonna do? So I really tipped into mindfulness. I used to take myself out to coffee shops and read for like hours. I was like, never ever in my life again am I going to force myself to be friends with people who don't treat me nicely or don't have the same things in common. And I felt like indestructible, let me tell you. Don't be too harsh on yourself when you try it at first, or even if you try it 1,000 times and a few times you feel lonely or it feels wrong. I still struggle with it, by the way. So anyway, let me get into the fun part of this. When did I truly realize the empowerment and the freedom that comes from doing things alone? Was 2018. Would always be waiting for people to do things, like cool things, you know what I'm saying? And every single time people would have like, you know, different schedules, or like they can't afford it, or they're not feeling like it, etc., etc. And I feel so boxed by that. 2018, I did those two things. The first thing was the hike that I went on. Total estimation of the time that I went on that hike for was about 6-7 hours. I felt so empowered and free, and I feel like a strong, independent woman, like just going out on my own in the wilderness and just doing what I want to do. It was one of the nicest things I've ever done for myself. It's the second thing, which is probably the coolest thing I have done in my 20s yet, is going to a music festival alone, or like a rave, whatever you want to call it. And it is the Velvet Music Festival that's held in Toronto every single year. I'm so grateful that I've done that for myself that year specifically, because little did I know that COVID was going to hit this year. I was actually planning to go this year, and last year I had a family commitment where I had to leave earlier in the summer, and so I couldn't be back on time for Veld. That just goes to show you that seize the moment. You never know what's going to happen next. You can't rely on people all the time to do, like, you know, things. And I had a bomb time. So it was the coolest thing ever. Wouldn't it be like so cool for you to try something like this on your own? Like, I know some people find it scary or like boohoo, but this is the whole point of this video. No one felt sorry for me. No one felt like, oh my god, like poor Lina, like you went on your own to a music festival. Everyone was like, wow, like that's so cool. Like I wish I could have done that. And you could do that if you want to. If someone wants to join, like that's double the fun, double the trouble. But if no one is available and no one wants to do it, then heck, I'm just gonna go for it myself. And so with that, we're reaching closer to the end of the video, where I'm going to tell you some of the benefits of doing things alone and how to try and go out and do things on your own as well. The first perk or benefit of it is that you show yourself that you love yourself and you respect it. Respect yourself to know that there are boundaries. There's time to, you know, detach from other people. And you signal to your brain that I respect myself enough to give it, you know, a timeout because I want to spend time with it. I enjoy spending time with myself because I like myself. And that leads into the second thing. When you're spending time alone, think of it as I said before, quality time. So what do you do when you have quality time with someone that you love, for example, whether that be a family member, significant other, friend, etc., etc., etc.? You do things that, you know, both of you enjoy and can bond over. And it's the exact same thing when it comes to your alone time. Your quality time with yourself is you bonding with yourself. Choose something or some things that you like to do and that make you feel so fulfilled and happy, and do those things. Try as much as possible to be present and to forget about, you know, wanting to be with someone else. There's always a second time for you to get people that you love to join you on this thing that you're enjoying while you're doing for yourself. And the third thing is that the freedom that comes with having quality time with yourself. You can do whatever you want while you're out. You can change plans if you want. The feeling of not having to compromise for anyone else for just maybe like a day or a few hours is so liberating, because that makes you feel like you're in charge of something of your life. And so that gives you more confidence. The point that comes after that is also very important, where when you're doing things alone, try to do most of them outside of your house. When you're sitting at home, you're saying, well, I don't deserve to go out to this fancy restaurant that I like, or this nice place that I've been meaning to go to, but no one has the time to go with me. And you're really depriving yourself from fully getting the love that you deserve by giving it to yourself. It will signal that I love myself, but conditionally. I love myself, but I can't give myself the full experience that I give to other people. And so that is, again, limiting. And so that leads to the other thing is, when you take yourself out, treat yourself like you're taking someone else out. When you're going out, dress nicely. Arrive to wherever you're going looking dazzling. That when you look good, when you take care of yourself, it's mainly for yourself. This is how you reflect how you're feeling on the inside. And even if you don't feel that great on the inside, just looking better on the outside will give you a little bit more push and positivity. Spending time alone is actually a form of self-love. When you want to practice self-love, remember that self-love is really taking care of yourself internally, your mental health, and obviously that could be physically as well. You will be able to feel 10 times better when you're around other people, and you can give them more. Surprisingly, and trust me on this one, you will earn people's respect when you know how to do things on your own. Being in solitude is really hard. You do it. When you start, you set an example for other people, you're an inspiration, and you do gain respect. And that, again, will also make you feel more confident about yourself and how you show up when you're around other people. When you do things alone, you're more alert, because when we go out with people, we are comfortable. And so we don't really notice our surroundings because we're so engrossed into the conversation. But when you're alone, you're more alert to your surroundings. And so you'll take notice of more things around you, which means that you're going to be more mindful. And if you watched my last episode, episode number 4, I talk about mindfulness, especially mindful texting. Mindfulness is one of the greatest gifts you can give to yourself, because you feel connected. And when we feel connected to things and people and our surroundings, we feel happier and definitely not lonely. And finally, doing things alone, it allows you to not take the people in your life for granted. Sit down with yourself and try to master doing things on your own. That's it, guys. This is the end of episode 5 of Lina Rants with me, Lina Rants IG. If you enjoyed this just as much as I did, please make sure to leave a comment down below. Or if you enjoyed it or think that you resonate with it, then please give it a thumbs up. If you want to hear from me, please do subscribe and hit the notification button so you can be alerted every single time I post a new video. I hope this has benefited you or inspired you in any single way. So with that, see you next time. It's the 21st century. Spirituality and doing things alone. So, oh my god, was that not recording? I'm very, like, you know, crazy, so I'll just go wild. Like, just... So Lina, spill it. When, where, how, why, and, you know, all that stuff. Okay, enough with that.